Jared's music store received shipments of recorders and harmonicas. A shipment of 5 recorders and 4 harmonicas costs $62. A shipment of 10 recorders and 3 harmonicas costs $84. Find the cost of a recorder and the cost of a harmonica. So the first thing that we want to do, if we read the directions, which we should, right? The first thing we want to do is identify variables. Well, what variables do you want to use? X and Y is what we've always used, and that's a perfectly fine variable to choose. There's also things called meaningful variables that we can choose, which would be R and H, because they mean something in this problem. I don't care which one you choose. It doesn't make any difference to me. Some people do better when they're choosing R and H because it means recorders and it means harmonicas. Some people do better with X and Y because that's what we've always used. Okay? Which one would you like me to use on the board? X and Y. Okay? X and Y. What is X going to stand for? Recorders. And Y? If you don't know how to spell harmonicas, look in the sentences. Okay? Now, here's the deal. Part of your directions say identify variables. That's what this is. So I need to see this for every problem that you do. Okay? We're starting out. I'm going to require certain steps. This is one of the steps I'm requiring. Okay? Write a system of equations that represents each situation. Anybody got anything? 5x plus 4y equals 62. Where did you get that? Second sentence of the problem. Okay, so a shipment of 5 recorders, 5x, and plus 4 harmonicas, 4y, costs $62 equals 62. You okay with that? So what's the second equation? 10x plus 3y equals 84. Okay, what about the third equation? Wait, there's not one. Everything we've been doing for the last couple of days has 3 equations. Oh, because there's 3 variables, right? How many variables do we have here? 2. So how many equations do we need? 2. At least 2, right? In this case, we only have 2. It only gives us information for 2 equations. Okay? So be careful of that. If it's asking you for 2 variables, 2 equations is sufficient. Okay? All right. So now you get to decide how you're solving this. Right now, you know 4 ways to solve systems of equations. What are they? Calculator, elimination, substitution, and someone said elimination. Yep. We're down to 1 way. We said graphing, substitution, elimination, and calculator. It's a matrix, so that's good. So we have that one. It was the first way we did. Guys, how do we write the answer? As a point on a... Oh, graphing. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so crazy. Which way would you like to solve this system? Okay, what kind of work are you required to show if you use the calculator with matrices? So I need the coefficient matrix, which would be 5, 4, 62, 10, 3, 84. Okay, what else do we need as part of our work? The answer matrix, right? The simplified matrix, the reduced row echelon form of this matrix. Six and 8. Okay, thank you. You already did it. So smart. Label your answer. How are we going to write our answer? Do we write it as a point? Does a point make sense in this situation? We would absolutely write a sentence. What does our sentence need to say? So recorders, not cast, C-O-S-T, costs $6. And what'd you say? Harmonicas? Cost $8? Is that a sentence? Is it a grammatically correct sentence? Yeah. It would be 2 rows and 3 columns. Absolutely. Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am. She already did it and told me the answer. She wasn't here yesterday. Yeah, so we'll have to show her in a second. Okay. Is this the only sentence we could have written? What else could have we have written? Okay, so we could have switched this part with this part. So what else could we have written? So we could have said the price of recorders is $6 and the price of harmonicas is $8. Is that significantly different from this sentence? No. Word choice is up to you. Content is the answer that we're looking for. Okay? Now, I want your sentence to be accurate. Okay? I want it to be also grammatically correct. Capitalization at the beginning, punctuation at the end, commas in the middle if we need them. Okay? Semicolons, whatever you want to use. But I need it to be a proper sentence. All right? I don't want a point as the answer. The point doesn't make any sense here. It's not answering the thing that's asking me to find. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's look at number 5. Number 5 can be tricky if you let it. Are you going to let it? All right then. Let's get to it. Jordan makes tables and chairs. Each table requires 4 feet of oak and 3 feet of pine, while each table requires 8 feet of oak and 2 feet of pine. He has 52 feet of oak and 23 feet of pine. How many chairs and tables can he build? So first I need to define my variables. Identify your variables. Which ones are we using? X and Y. What does X stand for and what does Y stand for? What does the question ask us at the end? Tables and chairs, right? It asks us about how many. I know there's stuff in here about oak and pine, and that's important, but look at the last sentence. Look at the question that they're asking or the statement that they're telling you at the end of the sentence. That will tell you, end of the problem is what I meant to say. That'll tell you what variables to use. Okay? So X is chairs. Y is tables. If X is chairs and Y is tables, what does our problem look like? What does our system look like? Yeah? So people earlier wanted to do more than one set of variables, and we can't do that. We don't know how to do that. All we know is a system of equations with 2 variables, and we've already defined our variables as chairs and tables. We don't want to add 2 more variables in here that wouldn't really make sense. X equals 4 and 3, wouldn't that be 7? What? Yeah, 1 in each equation. So she's saying that there needs to be a 4x and a 3x somewhere. Why is she saying that? Oh, pine and oak. So we have to keep those 2 separate? Okay. So what do you think an equation might look like? Genius. 4x plus 8y equals 52. Where did she get that? That's all about the oak, isn't it? We took all the oak and put it together. So sometimes, like in the first problem, it's going to give you a sentence and the equation is going to come directly out of the sentence. That's what happened in the first problem, right? But sometimes it's going to give you a bunch of information that's kind of mixed up and you have to figure out where it goes with what other data. You wanted to make x and y equal oak and pine, except for the fact that it asked for how many tables and chairs. So that's why we went back to tables and chairs. But we still got to keep the oak together and the pine together. Does that make sense? So it's just figuring out what information goes together here. Okay? So what about the last equation? What is it? 23. Okay? How are we going to solve this one? Oh, just in the calculator with the matrices? Okay, so what is my coefficient matrix? 4, 8, 52, 3, 2, 23. Excellent. What is our answer matrix? 4? Is that what you said? Okay. So what now? He can build 5 chairs and 4 tables. So we said there's a lot of different ways to write the sentences, right? What about this sentence? Tell me how you feel about this sentence. X equals 5 and y equals 4. Does that answer the question that it asks me? No. While that's an appropriate sentence, it's not answering the question. All it did was tell me what x and y equals. I didn't even say in the sentence that x equals chairs and y equals tables. So go back to the sentence or the statement that's there, the question, and see the thing that I wrote down, the sentence that I wrote down, is it answering what it's asking me for? Okay? Telling what you got for x and y is not answering the question. Look back at how many chairs and tables can he build? He can build 5 chairs and 4 tables. That answers it pretty accurately, doesn't it? Any questions about that? No. Look at number 11. Identify variables. What do you want to use? X and Y? Oh, wait, Y. Why do I need Z? Oh, there's 3 things. All right. X, Y, Z. X is nuts, bolts, washers. Okay, is everybody clear that we're not talking about washing machines here? Nuts, bolts, and washers, you know what all those are? Okay, that was confusing earlier, so I just want to make sure that we're good. Okay. So, can somebody give me a sentence? A math sentence, also known as an equation, okay? What you got? Two x plus 2y plus 4z equals what? You're not fired. It's a fine equation. What does it equal? 50. X plus y plus z equals what? 20. Okay. Can we talk about that in just a second? Because that is a very good question. Okay. Somebody give me the last mathematical sentence, the last equation. 5x plus 4y equals 70. Oh, that's messy. It doesn't have a z? Are you sure? Yeah, you can be sure about that. Okay. So, We need to answer Lana's question. Why isn't it 0.5 and 0.2 and 0.7? It can be. I wrote down what I heard. And he said 50 and somebody else said 20. Then you ask your question and then someone else still said 70. Okay? Do you want to deal with decimals? So as long as we understand that we're putting it in as a number instead of a decimal, right? Just like a 50, a whole number. We need to make sure to be able to interpret the answer that comes out. Are you okay with that? It's not so much that you would move the decimals, that you're just interpreting what it's saying. Yeah. But yes, I mean mostly. Okay? So how do you want to do this problem? You can't? Why not? Oh, there's a missing number, so we just have to throw the calculators away now? Okay. Can we put it in the calculator? Okay, so what are we putting in the calculator? What is the coefficient matrix? 2, 4, 50. 120. Oh, 0 right there, huh? There's no z term, so we represented that with a 0. It has to have a placeholder, doesn't it? If that is our coefficient matrix, I'm glad we decided not to throw the calculators away. They're pretty helpful. Okay, what's our answer matrix that we get out? Somebody besides the same person who's been doing it the last 2 times. I'm not mad. What? Like that? Okay. Now we have to remember that we put in these as whole numbers and not decimals. So we need to interpret this answer that we get out. So what is our answer? Oh, so it's 10 cents and 5 cents and 5 cents? Because we put this in as 50 cents and 20 cents and 70 cents. What would happen if we put in the coefficient matrix 0.5, 0.2, and 0.7? We'd have 0.1, 0.05, and 0.05, wouldn't we? Okay, as long as we can interpret it, it's fine. And as long as it doesn't mess with these numbers up here. If these numbers are money as well. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Taylor and Jenna.
Yes, I do.
Can you send her to the office, please? She's leaving.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As long as these numbers up here, like it doesn't matter for this. This is like a total number of things. It's not a money price. Then we don't have to worry about it at all. When this stuff up here is money also, we just have to be real careful. Okay? So what is my answer? Is this what you said? I tried to write down exactly what you said. Is that right? Somebody else tell me another way that they could have written the sentence. What you got? Nuts are 10 cents, comma, bolts are 10 cents, and washers are 5 cents and 5 cents. That's great. Again, the word choice is slightly different, but the content of the sentence is the same. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Do you have any questions about this? How are you feeling about it? Pretty confident? Okay, would you please circle the following questions? 4, 6, 9, 10, 13, 15. 4, 6, 9, 10, 13, 15. Are there any questions?